Hi, everybody, and welcome. Today's Transition Tuesday. We're going to be talking today about creating a graduation plan. We're going to look at credit hours and other considerations and just some tips on creating a graduation plan. My name is Felipe Martinez. My pronouns are they, them. I'm the Senior Student Advisor at the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis. No matter where you are in your college process, whether you're entering your first year or you're entering your junior or senior year, you can stop, assess where you are and the steps ahead of you so you can start to develop a plan for yourself. So really this is aimed at everybody who intends to be in college and is working towards that degree, whether it's an associate's, a bachelor's, a certificate, or any other degree. So thinking about a graduation plan. Like I said, my name is Felipe. I'm one of 4 student advisors at the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis. And one thing that I love about us is that we're student-centered, which is to say that we don't work for anybody, but for students. We want to make sure that we center your challenges, your questions, your concerns, and your successes. Today's presentation is all about you, the individual. And so while this information will be general, we want to make sure that you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how this pertains to you. You're writing things down, putting a plan in motion. And we're going to talk about that as we go ahead. So I very much welcome you and thank you for being here today. So graduation, what do the statistics say? Well, you are not a statistic. That's the first thing I want to say is you can look at all the statistics to help you in guiding you towards a decision, taking one route over another, but you want to be mindful that all those statistics are aggregated information of a broad set of people, challenges, successes, things that they do that work for them. It doesn't account for all the real world elements that come into play when developing a plan, right? And so it's really important to remember that you are not a statistic. There is no such thing as a standard student, and let's talk about that some more. So right off the bat, let's start with ideal plan versus the IRL plan, or in real life plan, like the realistic thing that we as people have to do, right? So let's look at the ideal plan first. This is like if everything worked out perfectly, there was nothing in the way, everything was laid out, and we're going to move right ahead. And I am going to cite some statistics here because statistics help us think about an ideal plan. So statistics say that one needs to take about 15 credit hours a semester or 30 per year, which means a student might not take 15 credit hours in a semester, but they might take 12. And then they might take additional classes during the summer. Then they take classes during the fall, interim session, and spring. And by the end of an academic year, they have accrued 30 credit hours, right? And that's ideal plan if you want to graduate from a community college in that ideal standard 2 years, right? We want to make sure that we're completing 15 credit hours per semester or 30 per year. At a 4-year college, in order to graduate in 4 years, it takes 15 credit hours per semester, 30 per year at a minimum. Of course, you want to look at your degree plan. Different majors have different requirements, but for the most part, 15 credit hours per semester is going to get you to where you want to be to complete these schools in the allotted amount of time. The ideal plan says students do this, and they also have internships. The ideal plan says college involvement, right? Clubs, sports, student activities of some sort. The ideal plan also includes work. Okay, so students can take 15 credit hours a semester. They can have an internship. They can be involved in their college, and they can work as well. And then, of course, all of this is wrapped up in we are taught about some college experience, some ideal thing that everybody wants to get, obviously, because we hear about it so much. But what is the college experience really? So now let's look at the in real life plan, the reality of things. The things that we want to think about this ideal plan is kind of like guideposts, right, to lead us along. We want to complete school in a timely manner because we don't want to take out too much debt. We might have scholarship limits. We want to make sure that we're meeting that time frame. But we also want to keep in mind that we have some real life elements to contend with and that need to be taken into consideration, because otherwise we get bogged down with this ideal plan and we don't give the attention that our real life plan deserves. And we may create pressure, anxiety on ourselves if we only look at the ideal plan. So let me just say a couple things about this in real life plan. One thing is credit hours per semester, per year, vary by individual. It depends on the other factors of life, right? Not everybody can go to school full-time. Not everyone can do that. So we want to take that into account, right? I was definitely a student. I know a lot of students who can't do just that full-time 15 credit hours every semester. So they want to take that into consideration. They want to think, hey, you know what, I'm a person, and yeah, the ideal plan is 15 credit hours per semester, but really with my schedule, 6, 9, 12 credit hours is where I'm more comfortable in knowing I'm going to be successful in my classes. I'm going to pass them, not have to repeat them, and that's part of my plan. So thinking about the statistics, about right now, community college, average student, that means students are completing less time and taking more time, is about 3.3 years right now. And I say right now, excuse me, this is just are from the National Student Clearinghouse, and the last report was from 2016. So we got some years here between us and the report. But just some, like I said, guideposts, some rough things to think about, right? The in real life plan, in real life, college students are completing 4-year college in about 5.1 years, right? Again, this doesn't mean that's going to be you, but maybe you don't want to take 5.1 years. So maybe you're going to work a little bit on your plan to make it happen in 4.5, right? Really important, internships are work. They're work. That's time and money. We have to be honest with ourselves. If, some internships are unpaid. Can I really afford to give up my time and money, think about commuting or think about whatever expenses you have to get to that internship, complete that internship? Is that worth it for me, right? Or am I following an ideal plan? Is this my real life plan that's happening? Definitely important questions to ask yourself. Is there a way to be compensated for my internship? And should I just be looking for internships that pay, right? All important questions. College involvement is conditional, meaning it depends on the conditions of an individual, right? Maybe one can't be so involved with college because they're a commuter, they don't live on campus. Perhaps work schedule, life schedules outside, like family responsibilities, right? Get in the way or keep us from being involved in college the way we would ideally like to be. And that's okay. But we want to be real about that when we're setting out a plan, because we don't want to deprioritize things, right? We don't want to say, well, I got to have this college involvement, so I'm going to get rid of this aspect. Maybe there needs to be a balance that we're going to account for in our plan. Work is work. And let's not kid ourselves about that, right? Work is work. It takes time, money, energy. We're going to be tired. And we need to be honest with ourselves about that when we're creating a plan. How am I going to manage my time? How am I going to balance everything out so that I'm giving due attention to the things that deserve it, right? Like my work, my personal life, as well as school. And the college experience, in quotation marks, for real, is just your experience in college. Whatever that is, that's your college experience. It may be the ideal, right? Participating in sports, clubs, being on campus, student government. It may be a variation of that. It may be a reduced schedule of that. It may altogether not involve that typical college involvement, but the college experience is everything that goes into it. And that's what we want to make good for ourselves. When we think about a graduation plan, we're really trying to maximize our college experience. And the way we do that is we put things down on paper. I'm a visual learner. If you're a visual learner, however you learn, make sure you're you're recording and keeping organized in that manner for yourself. Because again, at the end, when they say, what was your college experience? You want to be able to say, these are the things I did. This is what happened. This is what I took into consideration, right? So it's unique to everybody. I'm a little bit of a language nerd. I like to know what words mean. Words that we use all the time that seem super simple. I think everybody knows what this word means or that word means, but like I like to dig in a little bit deeper, right? And so like I have to create a presentation on creating a graduation plan. What is a plan, right? What's that word mean exactly? And what are some words like it that can help me think about this concept some more? So a plan is an intention or decision about what one is going to do. Intention or decision. It's saying, this is my intention, I'm making this decision, and this is what I'm going to do. It's an idea, right? It's also a sketch, a rough or unfinished drawing or painting, often made to assist in making a more finished picture, right? So we start out, we're like, oh, the college experience. And that's just an idea. That's what I want to do, is maximize my college experience. So that's going to take some planning, some coordination. But by the end, I hope to have a more solid picture of what my college experience is. Map. A diagrammatic representation of an area of land or sea showing physical features, cities, roads, etc. A plan is like a map. We never set out on a trip, or mostly don't set out on a trip without some plan, without some map, without some idea about the direction we're heading in it and the obstacles that we may face. And when I say obstacles, I don't mean things that stop us or get in our way definitively, but things that we have to navigate, things we have to think about. Those features of the land, right? Those cities, those roads. Is that a one-way? Is there an exit? Is there not an exit for another 5 miles? Definitely some things we want to think about. And so I hope we're really coming to this point where we're like, yeah, I need a graduation plan. And it's not going to look like anybody else's graduation plan. It's going to look like my sketch, my idea of what's up ahead and what I intend to do. So good plans exist and they adapt. One of my favorite rappers, Andre 3000, says in Miss Jackson, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather, which is so true, so true. We can't predict the weather. We can't predict those variables, those things that are going to change, but we can plan a pretty picnic. We can bring everything we need or that we think we need. We can plan on where we're going to sit, where we're going to bring with us, what we're going to eat, what we're going to drink, but we don't know what the weather is going to be like that day, right? So we're going to plan. We're going to bring a coat if it could rain. We're going to bring an umbrella. If it's going to be cold, make sure we bring an extra coat, right? Thinking about those things. So build with me on that analogy for a moment, just like plan a pretty picnic. Think about it, right? Everyone wants to have that nice thing. It may be ideal in the beginning, but we know that there will be variables, undoubtedly. So now let's think about your plan specifically, right? And so you should have your laptop out, writing this down, writing it down on paper, however it works for you. But really ask yourself these questions that I'm going to go through and really think about some of the major factors that play into your plan. So what's your plan? Where are you starting? Where are you starting? And that means like not where did you start? Maybe you started a year ago, right? And we don't need to rehash everything we've done over the last year, though we do want to take it into account in planning and assessing where we are today. Where are we starting? And the starting point is the point where we start to develop our plan. Where are you going, right? What direction? What's the goal, right? And we know in life that goals are provisional. They are temporary. It's one goal, because right behind that goal is going to be another path that's going to head towards another goal. But for our first goal, where are we going? This can be a long-term plan, a short-term plan. So I might be building out a graduation plan, but really only looking at the coming academic year. So semester 1, semester 2, fall, spring, looking at it that far, right? I'm trying to get to the end of second semester. I'm trying to do some things along the way. I want to make sure I know where I'm going. Then the really concrete things, like what steps will you take, right? What steps will I take? What am I going to do? I'm going to write that down. I'm going to make sure, I mean, for me, it's helpful to create little boxes. I'm going to have like a checklist. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking the steps that I need to take, right? If there's someone I need to talk to, I'm going to write that down. If I need to figure out who I need to talk to, that's a step I'm going to take. I'm going to write down that I need to find out someone who's got an answer for me in the financial aid office, right? If the step I need to take is to connect with my professors, I'm going to make sure that I learn my professors' office hours. I record them in my calendar, put them on recurring so that I always know when my office hours are. I don't need to be looking at my professor's office hours all the time. I build them right into my calendar. So what steps will you take, right? When? Really important to add to the calendar, to the plan, right? Like when am I going to do this? I'm interested in internships. I'm looking at 4 years of college. I know internships usually happen most often in junior and senior year, though that doesn't mean I can't find an internship during my freshman or sophomore year. But thinking about my plan, I'm going to say, okay, I definitely want to start internship in my junior year. That's when I'm going to do it. Now, my junior year, when am I going to start looking into that internship? Well, right when I get to school, maybe the summer before, I'm going to contact the career office. I'm going to contact whatever office handles internships, whether it's at my department or at a school level. And that's when I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to schedule a meeting a month out from there to revisit kind of the opportunities that I'm taking advantage of. What internships am I applying for? Which ones did I hear back from? Which ones did I get? Which ones didn't I get? Why, right? All this can be built into a plan. And what will you do if something doesn't go as planned? We don't think about this, but we hear about contingency plans all the time. I'm a big advocate for parallel plans. I think I want to take this step. I want to go this way to this goal, but what's another way I can get to that goal? Is there another way? I'm going to build that plan in. I'm going to have two parallel plans and they're going to move forward. And at some point, I'm going to make a decision between those two plans and I'm going to take that route. That way, I'm always building a plan A, a plan B, and some folks like a plan C and a plan D, and where that fits, definitely want to take advantage of taking some time and space to think about that. When and how will you celebrate? When and how will you celebrate? Not something we think about when we're thinking about planning, when we're thinking about goals, when we're thinking about challenges that might come up, but and that's where the focus is, right? That's what I've been talking about most of the time, but when and how will you celebrate is really helpful, right? Saying when I hit this point, I'm going to do this for myself. When I hit that point, I'm going to do that for myself, right? Whatever that celebration is, it could be really small, something you do on your own. It could be something bigger, right? Right now, this past year, we went through a global pandemic where we were in a strict lockdown. And I saw folks figuring out how they were going to celebrate their college graduation because they weren't going to get that traditional, that ideal graduation that they were hoping for. But that does not mean that there is nothing to celebrate. It doesn't mean because, circumstances have changed significantly that my need to celebrate myself with my friends and family, people that I love, that does not go away. And it's not only a celebration for myself in that case, just for a moment, let me say, like graduation is a celebration for a lot of people around us. A lot of people are rooting for us, are there to support us, and they want to celebrate also. They want to celebrate us and they want to celebrate our relationship with them. They want to celebrate the journey and the path, right? And so building in a time to celebrate, whether that's going to get ice cream, getting like DoorDash, whether it's having a big celebration, something virtual, a small group within your pod that you're going to have an in-person celebration with, something very unique to you. That's part of your plan. Please start to plan celebrations. It's really important. So here are some things to consider when developing your plan, right? And there are 3 things I'm going to talk about. So here, things to consider are academics. On the academic level, here are some things to consider. Major and minor requirements. Those are unique to each individual. sometimes even within majors, right? Because you have specializations. Maybe you have the same major as someone else, but you have a minor and they don't. So you can't go off of their graduation plan. You have to be thinking, what are the major and minor requirements for myself? And how am I going to meet those? And when am I going to meet them? What information do I need to meet them? Those kinds of things. Your expected graduation date. It's great to know where the goal is, right? You can have more goals after that, but you got that goal that you see up ahead is graduation. So that's my expected graduation date. Now I can work backwards. I can think about how many credit hours do I have to complete by my expected graduation date, right? How many things do I want to do? Like, do I need internships? Am I planning on participating in student government? Maybe I need to start running my sophomore year for student government if I intend to have a good position by my senior year, right? And like I said, your credit hours per semester, definitely something you can plan on. Thinking, you know what? I know at the beginning of next year, I'm going to have this knee surgery. And so maybe that semester, I'm going to think a year in advance. That semester, I know I'm going to take less than 12 credit hours. I know I'm probably going to feel better with one less class. So I'm going to plan on taking 9 credit hours. And I'm going to build that into my plan because I know that I want to complete 30 in a year. And if I know that semester I'm going to take 9, I'm going to drop one. I'm not going to I'm not going to take one class. I need to find out where in my plan that class is going to fall into place, whether it's summer class or another semester in the future. You know, maybe you take 9 credit hours one semester and you take 15 another, and maybe not right after each other, but it works out like that, right? So think about those credit hours per semester. Like I said, thinking about summer and winter courses, when am I going to take those? What am I going to be looking at? Maybe you don't know the specific courses you're going to take just yet. Maybe it's a little early for that, but you can start to think like, okay, you know what? I'm not planning a huge vacation that summer because I know that I need to get 2 classes out of the way. And I would like to take those 2 classes in 2 different sessions during the summer so that I'm only focusing on 1 class at a time. Again, that's all planning. That's the ideal plan for you. That's what I want to do. I may find that in the summer, I need to take them both first session because second session, another opportunity came up. I'm going to be participating in a youth camp or an internship, or I'm going to be at a conference, virtual or in person. So you can think about those things. Those are the variables I'm thinking about. And the same with internships, right? When do I want to take an internship? How am I going to get an internship? Where do I look? Should I start preparing my resume a semester before I'm going to be applying for my internships? Probably a good idea because, you know, I encounter students who are ready to apply for internships and they go, okay, what do I need to do? I'm ready to apply. Do you have a resume ready? No, I got to work on that. Well, then you're not ready to apply yet, right? You've got to get that resume in place. So thinking ahead of time, I could get that done a semester early, get some help, get some friends to look at my resume with me, some mentors, advisors, and really get that shored up and in a strong position so that when I hit that time on my plan, when I'm going to apply to internships, I am ready to apply for internships. Things to consider on the financial level, right? Major and minor, extra courses, materials, equipment, lab fees. Super important to think about, right? If I know I go into clinicals in my junior year, I know that I'm probably going to have some extra fees for equipment, right? Financial aid requirements and limits. So really important to think, I have right here in parentheses 150% of a program. So financial aid like Pell Grant eligibility hits a cap of 150% of a program. And what does that mean? That means if, say, I'm going to community college and it's 2 years, 150% of a program would be 3 years. I have 3 years of Pell Grant eligibility at that community college, which means I need to finish in 3 years in order to maximize or ensure that I have Pell Grant each year that I'm going, right? I need to know if my plan means, it's going to take me 4 years to finish community college. I need to know in my 4th and final year, or I'm sorry, if I know it's going to take me more than 3 years, more than 150%, that I'm going to have to pay out of pocket, that I will not be banking on that Pell Grant eligibility, right? So something to think about. If you have questions about this, of course, reach out to your advisor, financial aid professional, and talk about it. Scholarship requirements and limits. Scholarships have certain requirements. They also have certain limits. I can think of scholarships I know that are for 8 semesters, 10 semesters, 12 semesters, but then they hit a cap. That's something you definitely want to think about if you have a scholarship or you know of scholarships you're going to apply for. As well, building into your plan is, when am I going to apply for scholarships? You know, scholarship search doesn't have to end in your high school, senior year of high school. It can go on. You can be applying for scholarships every year that you're in college, because there are scholarships out there for current college students. So thinking about that, thinking about the requirements to keep a scholarship if you already have it. How do I hold on to that scholarship? And how long can I plan on having that scholarship? That's important, because you don't ever want to run into a situation where you're like, oh, that scholarship ran out. I'm still in school, so now I have to figure out how to do this without the scholarship I had been counting on. So think about that. And then application renewal timelines. So your plan may have several timelines in there, right? And one important timeline is your financial timeline. And these are things determined by outside sources, right? So the FAFSA opens on October 1st. That's a set date. So you know October 1st, every year that you're in college, you can start working on your FAFSA for the coming academic year. Build that into your plan. No October should go by while you're in college that a FAFSA, if you file a FAFSA, isn't being completed. If you don't file a FAFSA, what do you need to be doing each year to ensure that you have the financial aid that you need going into the next year? At the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis, our application is open from January 1st to April 15th each year. Put it on your calendar. You never have to worry about not renewing your funding at the Scholarship Foundation if you know that every year between January 1st and April 15th, that is your time to renew your funding at the foundation. As well as private scholarships, both new and renewal applications, right? So when you get a scholarship, don't think like, oh, okay, I'm good, I have a scholarship, and now I can move ahead in my years. Is there a renewal process? Are there requirements? What do I need to do and when do I need to do it? All important aspects of the plan. And then things to consider on a personal level. This is a personal plan, right? How am I going to account for my physical health? Whatever that means for you as an individual. What does your physical health mean? Does that mean exercise? Does that mean eating? Does that mean going to doctor's appointments? Does that mean getting medication, renewing medication, staying up on that? All of those things, right, can be built into a plan so that we're not hitting emergencies around our physical health, because we know that can altogether derail our graduation plan, or at least postpone it. Again, it's a challenge, right? Not insurmountable. Can definitely go back to that graduation plan and say, all right, had to stay out for this semester due to, you know, physical health reasons, but I'm back on track this next semester, and that's where my plan picks up again. But in order to avoid those kind of disturbances, if we can, we want to plan for our physical health, to maintain our physical health while we're in college. We also want to think about our mental health. Super, super important. I'm a huge advocate of accessing counseling services at your school, whether you think you need them or not. Like, we pay student fees, and those student fees are for the mental health clinic and services in part. And so why not take advantage of what mental health services provides, right? Whether it's, virtual informational sessions, whether it's workshops in person or virtually, whether it's going and creating, making an appointment, right? Regular appointments saying, hey, you know what? This semester, I'm going to go see a counselor at least 3 times in the semester. Once a month, I'm going to go and I'm just going to talk. Even if I don't think I need to, even if I'm feeling the best I've ever felt, I'm going to go and I'm going to tell someone about it. I'm going to let someone completely outside of my circumstances hear what's going on for me, so that I can get kind of a sounding board, something that reflects back to me what I'm doing, what I'm facing. Am I doing it? Am I doing it good for me? Am I taking the right steps? Are there other things that I'm not thinking about that I want to be thinking about, right? So building that in is just like another thing to do, but it's for yourself, and it's really going to help you stick to your graduation plan. And then personal is like friends, family, community. You know, we don't think about it. We know they're out there. Sometimes we don't feel like they are. I mean, I'm speaking from personal experience. Sometimes we don't feel like anyone's out there, even though we know inside they are, right? So sometimes writing down in a plan, these are my friends, this is my family, these are my community members and organizations, and these are the people I'm going to tap when I hit a rough spot or when I hit a success, right? When I need to celebrate, these are the folks I'm going to let them know. Because you know what? Maybe they haven't asked me, but maybe I need to let them know because maybe they're wondering, right? No matter what, it's going to do some good for me. It might do some good for them. So I'm going to build this into my plan because I know that, for example, I'm a first generation college student. I know that not a lot of people who care about me are going to know what I'm going through specifically, but I want them to know. So I'm going to build this into my plan to create points of contact, people who are with me for the journey, who know about what I'm going through and hear about it. Because you know what? They want to be there, like I said, celebrate and support you when times get rough. All right. So where do we keep our plans? There's a lot of different places we can keep plans. These suggestions are all electronic, digital, because nowadays lots of things are in the cloud. We like to think that we have a cloud in our head and we can keep everything in our head. But to be quite honest, I've been a student advisor for 12 years, and even from personal experience, I know that is not the case. We cannot keep everything on our heads. We cannot keep all of the balls juggling in the air. We need to have a home, a place where we keep things that we can go back to. And so one website that I suggest is Trello. If you haven't used it, there's an app, there's a website. Go check out Trello. It's a great resource for keeping a plan month to month with specific action items throughout. You might also just keep it in Google Docs if you use Google Docs or a cloud. Some folks have external hard drives. If you have an external hard drive for your computer, yeah, save stuff on your computer, save stuff in the cloud. But if you want, keep an external hard drive as well, a flash drive if you have it. And we're open to suggestions. So if you have any suggestions, websites, great resources for keeping plans, for keeping calendars, you know, feel free to email the Scholarship Foundation at info@sfstl.org and send in your ideas. Advisors would love to hear them. We like to share resources with our students whenever we can. But this is all to say that we need to keep our plans somewhere. And you know what? If you're like paper folders, you like that, like do that. Keep it on paper, keep it in a folder, keep it somewhere that you can go back to it and look at it and modify it, rewrite it, rethink it. So what do plans, sketches, maps have in common? They change with the landscape, the elements, the variables. Plans, sketches, maps have no doubt that they exist because elements exist, because things change, because we need guidance, even if it comes from ourselves, right? And so they change, they move around. Maps change over the years. All of these things change. Sketches definitely change to that clearer picture, right? And our plans change. Sometimes we decide, hey, you know what? I don't want to do what I thought I wanted to do. I want to do something else altogether, but let me adapt this plan into a new plan, right? Because things change, always. So how do we keep a working plan working? A working plan being something that changes and adapts with us, right? How do we keep that going? How do we make sure that we're visiting our plan throughout time? Pick an anchor, is my suggestion. A person, it could be an organization, a person, a friend, that's gonna hold you down. When I say hold you down, that means like they're gonna look at your plan with you. Maybe you want to do it just on your own, you know, that's cool. Like, hey, I just want to revisit my plan once a semester and look and see how I'm doing. It might be like, actually, I need someone to hold me accountable to my plan. So I'm actually going to pick a mentor, an advisor. I'm going to pick anybody, a friend, someone who's going to follow my plan with me. Even if it's just that once a semester that we check in, I'm going to go, hey, remember my plan? Here, I'm sharing a link to it and we're going to look at it together. I'm going to tell you kind of what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing, right? Schedule regular times of the year, like I said, to check in on your plan. And be open to change. Like I said, it's guaranteed. Things are going to change, right? You have an ideal plan and you have an in real life plan. That in real life plan guarantees you it's going to change. So be open to it. Have a plan, know where to find it, know how to hold yourself accountable to that plan. Again, don't forget, at the foundation, we have student-centered advisors. There, you're going to find our link tree highlighted there. You can access that link tree and it will give you access to the calendars of all 4 advisors at the foundation. You can choose us by name and you can schedule a time for us to meet and talk about your plan or any questions or concerns you have around going to college, staying in college, graduating college. I really want to thank you for your time today. I hope this has been helpful. And if you have any questions, like I said, email your advisor or email info@sfstl.org, and we would love to hear from you. Thanks a lot, everybody.